Hello everyone, this is Mary Ann and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to give you a very simple tutorial on how to create simple planner inserts using Adobe InDesign. The Filofax Personal size has been preset into my InDesign by me, but it's really just 95 millimeters by 171, and you input that into the options for creating a document, and you are given this screen right here. And then you simply have to manage the margins. I usually use 5 millimeters for the outside margins and 12 millimeters for the inside margins, so we have that inner rectangle in which we can place all of the elements of our design. And then we are going to create two more pages to create the facing pages of your planner spread, and then repeat the commands for the margins to create the fields in which we are going to place all of the elements inside the planner pages. The outside margins are actually sized, the inside margins are actually sized to accommodate the hole punching in the personal size planner, so that when you do any punching on the pages that have been printed out, you are not going to hole punch anything that you have printed on there, because nothing is going to be printed on the area of the margins. And then one of the most crucial things to do is to create a guide. This is very, very important because it will dictate the alignment and sizes of all of the elements in your planner pages. So let's try to make a weekly layout. I am unsure about how to do it because I haven't really made a weekly layout before, but let's try the grid here. Let's just try to create boxes. And then I usually just fit the guides to margins instead of the page. Let's see what we can do here. The gutter, which is the distance between all of the boxes, I have set to 1 millimeter, and we are given that particular space to deal with. And because we already have our guides, the aqua lines that we have just created, we can then go ahead and make our boxes. Let's try making boxes right here. I usually just drag the cursor from corner to corner to create a box and then release. And then after that, I set the weight of the line. And then if we go to stroke, I always select the inside alignment of the stroke, because if we choose the centered, that's how it's going to look. And if we choose the align to the outside of the guides, that's how it will look. So I just choose the align to the inside of the guides so that we don't have to keep realigning stuff. So let's try to duplicate this rectangle and then align it with the first one using the guide as our guide. So I just redid that the third time. And if we choose the preview mode, we can now see how the page is going to look like when we print it on our printer. It will print without the guides and without the lines for the margins. And now let's try to make boxes on the facing page. I don't really know what to do with this, but maybe we can create boxes that we can track things on, like the way I do my tracking boxes for my own planner pages. Now I did this in order to be very, very simple, because if you're familiar with my own planner pages that I have designed and made using InDesign, it's very complicated. It has a grid on it, and it has icons that I made with Adobe Illustrator, and it's designed especially for my needs. So I just wanted to give you at this moment something very, very basic so you can familiarize yourself with what Adobe InDesign can do. And you don't really need to start with a completely sophisticated design right away. You can start with something very, very simple while you're still figuring out what you want to do with your planner pages. So there I just keep repeating the boxes and aligning them to the guides that we have set. And let us look at the preview. That's how it looks. Everything is aligned and everything is measured correctly. That is why setting guides is very, very crucial. So now let us try to make a different layout. Let's create 2 more pages. These are facing each other. And now let us set the margins again. Once again, the margins for the outside, the measurements for the outside margins will be 5 millimeters, and for the inside margin, it's always going to be 12 millimeters, so as we can have enough space for the hole punching to go in. So that's how it looks, same as the first spread that we did. And now let us try to make an actual weekly layout. Let's try for a horizontal one. So there are 7 days in a week. We can make 7 rows, but it's better to have 8 rows so that you have space at the top or at the bottom for extra lists or notes. So let us create guides with 8 rows. Let us put 8 on there. Yeah, I put 8 on there, and then I set the gutter or the distance between the guides at 1 millimeter. Now let's try to see what we can create with this particular format. Maybe we can try using a basic straight line to segregate the days from each other. So now let's go ahead and do that. Remember that to create a line that is completely horizontal on InDesign while dragging the line to the length that you want it to be, you also have to hold down the Shift button to lock the direction of the line that you're creating. So after we have created the line, what I really did was just to copy paste. And then when I was able to do 2 lines, I copy pasted those 2 lines onto the next guidelines below it, and then that's what I just kept on doing, and so on and so forth, just to make sure that everything is aligned and uniform and the same. So it's fairly easy, as you can tell, and we are just designing very, very basic inserts with this one. Sometimes the actual guidelines can look very, very confusing. You can change the color of that, but I never really felt the need to. So if we look at the preview, that's how it's going to look. And then when I looked at the preview, I realized that it was missing something. It was missing a border at the top and at the bottom. So what I did was I just copied one of those lines and then pasted it onto that area right there marked by the margin. So that's why the margin is important. So as you can see, everything is already present. The demarcations between the days are already present and aligned and in the proper places. And now we can already go ahead and put in our text. I actually didn't quite know what to write there, but I eventually decided on something like to do this week. So if you have some tasks that need to be done that week, but you have no particular day on which to do them, it's just an alert for you that it has to be done within that week. This is something that you can do. And here's a fun thing with working on InDesign. There are so many fonts that you can work with. You can go bonkers choosing so many different fonts like this one that is not very readable. but I always am very conservative when using fonts. So let's try this typewriter one. And with planner pages, you don't really have to use very, very large fonts because planner pages usually have smaller fonts because of the smaller page sizes. But because these will be your planner pages, you can make them as big or as small as you want. And then what I did was I just copied that text field and then pasted it onto the second box. And then that is what I edited to carry the date. So let's pretend that we are making the planner inserts for the week of November 6 to, let's see, 11? Is that right? November 6 to 6 to 12. I am a weekly planner and all of my weeks always start on Mondays. So let's try to do the weekly pages for November 6 to 12. So that's really just the basic method that I do. I copy paste what I have already done and then I just change or edit the dates and the day of the week. Easy peasy, and it's very quick, and all of the formatting like the font size and the font style and the font weight are already embedded into that field that you are copying, so you won't have to manually set the type settings on that particular field. So this is the quickest way to do it, and this is how I do it myself. So now we are already on November 12th, which is a Sunday. And finally, our week is done. So let us look at what we have done. See, it is very neat. It's very clean. All of the days have equal sizes and they have equal distance from each other. And now what I usually do is I just select all and then copy and then paste them onto the other page following the grid lines, and then I just simply edit the dates. Because all of the Mondays are on the same location, and the Tuesdays and Wednesdays and so on and so forth, I really no longer have to edit the days of the week. I just edit the actual days, meaning the number pertaining to the days. So now we have the spread for 2 whole weeks. What I really do is I just duplicate that entire spread, and then remember we ended at November 19 on the previous spread. I just continue editing the numbers to on the copied spread to continue the calendar. And it's really, really very quick. And once you duplicate a spread on InDesign, a spread or a page, it really copies everything. Every element that you put on the previous spread is copied and pasted in the exact same location. You don't have to adjust it or edit it or anything. Everything is copied completely perfectly. So now we already have the spreads for 4 weeks from November 6 to December 3, and it was very, very easy. Now we just have to make an adjustment on this because I think I made a mistake, but it's easy to correct such a mistake. Just select the field and then nudge it down to where you want it to be. So that's the first design that you can do. It's a horizontal week on a page layout. Now let us try to do something else. Let us create 2 more pages facing each other, and then let us view it in the normal view, and then let us input our standard margins, which is 5 millimeters for the top, the bottom, and the outside margins, and 12 millimeters for the inside. And so we have that that kind of page again, and let us set the guides. Now let us try to have the same kind of guides. Still the 8 rows to a page, but this time let us create it not with lines but with boxes. So you just have to choose, instead of choosing the line tool that we used before, we just choose the rectangle field tool that is a little bit below it, and then we can also set the line width. We can make the lines thicker or wider or heavier or thinner depending on what we want it to look like, and later on I'll show you how it looks like. So again, I simply just copied the boxes that I have made and pasted it onto the next area as delineated by the guides that we have created. Now it's not really easy to view this on the screen because some details are not captured completely because of the resolution of the screen, but you can also opt for the snap to grid feature of InDesign. But I just wanted you to see how all of the lines can be made to manually align to the guidelines. And now we can select all of the text that we have placed on the previous layout that we made, and then copy that and then simply paste that on there. Because we have the same grid and the same dimension for the boxes and the areas per day, we don't really have to make much adjustment. So this is how it looks when we're done. We can also shorten or resize the text field without affecting the size of the text. If we think it's too long and nothing is going to be there and the rest of the field anyway, we can shorten it so that it won't occupy too much space. And we can also, I duplicated that spread because I wanted to show you how to do something else. We can also align the copy on the right side of the boxes. It's easy to do that. You just drag it, or you can do it like that. You can make it like a vertical text that is running along the side of each box for each day. So you just manually align all of the text fields that you have adjusted. It's going to be a different look, and if you prefer this, it's easy to do this. Another way of doing it would be to position the text on the center of the text field so that it will be completely centered on the box, but I didn't do that for this particular tutorial anymore. But more or less, you get the idea of what we're trying to achieve. See, it's very, very easy. It's very quick. And when you move a particular element on InDesign or resize anything, it doesn't affect all the other things. So that's a great thing about InDesign. So let us review what we have done so far. Well, it's not bad. Very, very simple, but very, very functional. And you have the option of choosing, of course, whatever font, color, or weight, or size, or style that you want. Now let us create a new one. This time, not the horizontal weekly. Let's try the one in which we can have bigger boxes. Let's try a week on 2 pages. So we created 2 pages again and set the margins again, but this time for the guides, we are going to have 2 rows separated by 1 millimeter, and we are going to have columns this time, 2 columns separated by a gutter of 1 millimeter also, like before. So those are the guides that we are going to follow in creating the boxes or the areas that we are going to assign for each day of the week. So let us first create the boxes. making sure to align them to the grid lines that we have created, and then setting the line weight for the box that we want. And then I really just copy paste what I have done so that the size and the line weight of the border on the box will be preserved, and I don't have to manually enter the properties all over again. So easy peasy, just copy paste, and as you can see, everything is perfectly aligned and all the sizes of all the boxes are exactly the same. Now we are just going to copy all of the days that we have set on the previous page, but there's an easier way to do it. You go to layers and then select all of the layers that have text on them, and then select all, and then you just have to copy and then paste, and then there you go. You can put them on the paste board first so that you can place them manually and align them manually on the layout. So take them from the paste board and then place them on the layout. There's really nothing to it. It's very quick and easy. And if you can notice some lines pop up, those are to alert you to the fact that the one that you are aligning is already in line with the one that came previously with it. So it's very easy to align things on InDesign. And here is the preview of everything. That's how it looks like when it's printed out on actual paper. Very clean, very simple, and very, very easy to do. You can also change the color of the text, of course. You can make it any color that you want. You just look at the swatches, which is right here, and then you can select any color that you want. You can try red, and then you can adjust the hue by manually adjusting the sliders, or you can drop down to view all of the color libraries. These are all of the color libraries that you have, but let's try the coded Pantone, and let's try the purple one because a lot of girls in the planner community seem to like purple. So the purple is already there because what we did was really just to name the color of what has already been preset. But you get the idea. You can change it to whatever color that you like. In our example, it's purple. And you can also change the color of the borders of each box. You can use any color that you like. So it's really very easy, and there are so many choices for you to look through. So this is what we have created. It's pretty cool. But that's for personal sized pages. What if you want to create A5 pages, which is even easier on InDesign because the A5 is already preset when you create a document, and you just choose A5, and that's what you end up with a screen that looks like that, and you just create 2 more pages and then just repeat the same process. You set the margins to be 5 millimeters, 5, 12, and then again another 5 to accommodate the hole punching on the A5 size pages, or even the classic if you put A5 size pages in the classic Franklin Covey. So this is how it looks. It's just a little bit difficult to center on the screen so you can see, but this is really how it looks, pretty much the same as the personal size, but of course in A5. And now we can do the same commands. We can set the guides in the same way. We can have the week on 2 pages. But this time, because the paper is bigger, maybe we can have bigger distances between the boxes. So I set the gutter to 2 millimeters, and then I fit the guides to the margins, and that's that's the page that we are going to work with. And now we can just create the boxes and set the line size or the line weight of the border of the boxes, and then really just set it to align to the inside of the guide, and then just copy paste like we did before. Very easy. And the great thing about this method is that all of your planner inserts will look uniform and very, very basic. So if you are the kind who decorates your planners, you can really, really go wild with your washi tape and your stickers. Now I just went to that previous personal sized file that we created so that I can copy the text that we have done on there. So I just copied that and then I pasted it on here. Easy peasy. So I just manually align them all on the boxes, in which we can easily see that the text that we have here is really for the personal size. So they look too small for the A5, and you can change the size of the text. Aside from the color, of course, you can change anything that you want in the text. But just to give you an idea of how easy it is to create also the A5 inserts, this is what we have done. So pretty easy. It's very, very clean, very basic. It's almost inviting you to decorate it. And now if you want to change the color of the borders, you can do so. You just click the box that you want to change the colors of, and look, we have changed one of them to blue and then the other to green. So it's really quite easy. So that is our week on 2 pages in a very, very clean design. Now, how to create the rest of the pages using the same design without having to do everything all over again. You simply duplicate the spread and you are given the exact same spread. So just to give you an idea, it's just below that. So you just simply edit the date on the spread that was duplicated, so you continue the date without missing a day. And you don't have to edit the days of the week because all of the days of the week have their own assigned locations on the inserts, but all that you really have to edit is the days and the month if it applies. Like for instance, we're already at the end of November, so we're moving on to December. So this is what we have done very, very quickly. It's the quickest way I know, and it's the most basic thing I know. So I hope this video was helpful for you. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. And until the next video, thanks for watching. Bye!